How do you forgive someone who erased half your childhood? My mother told me my father abandoned us. For 10 years, I believed her. I grew up with a ghost-shaped hole in my heart, a space filled with her stories of his selfishness and cruelty. Then, while looking for old photo albums in her closet, I found them. A shoebox full of his letters, one for every birthday. Every Christmas I had spent believing I was forgotten. Reading those letters was like watching my entire childhood shatter. His words weren't those of a monster. They were filled with a desperate, aching love. He wrote about the presents he'd sent: a custom-painted skateboard for my 10th birthday, a telescope for my 12th, gifts my mother had always claimed were lost in the mail. I felt a cold dread creep over me as I realized they hadn't been lost. They had been intercepted. My discovery turned my grief into a quiet, simmering rage. I started to see her manipulation everywhere. When I asked for a new phone, she agreed, but I later discovered my father's number was preemptively blocked. She'd smile her sad, brave smile and say, "I'm just protecting you, honey. He's not a stable person." The injustice escalated when I tried to reconnect with him secretly. My mother found out. Her protection became a siege. She called my school counselor, spinning a tale of a dangerous and unstable ex-husband who was trying to harass me. My teachers started looking at me with pity, as if I were a fragile thing on the verge of breaking. I was being isolated, wrapped in a cocoon of her lies. The final devastating blow came last month. She sat me down, her eyes full of theatrical tears, and told me she was going to court. She was suing to terminate his parental rights completely. "It's for the best," she whispered, stroking my hair. "So he can never hurt you again." But he wasn't the one hurting me. She was erasing my father from my life, and she was using me as the reason. The family courtroom was cold and impersonal. My mother sat beside her lawyer, the perfect portrait of a wronged, protective mother. My father sat on the other side, looking tired and defeated, a man worn down by years of blocked calls and returned letters. They thought I was a pawn in their game, a silent victim. They didn't know I had brought my own weapon. When the judge, a woman with weary but perceptive eyes, turned to me and asked softly, "Chloe, can you tell me how you feel about your father?" A hush fell over the room. My mother gave my hand a squeeze, a silent command to perform. I stood up, my hands trembling as I clutched the shoebox. "My mother says my father is dangerous," I began, my voice clear and steady. "She says he doesn't love me." I walked towards the judge's bench. For 10 years, I believed her. I opened the box and laid the first letter on the polished wood. "This is for my 7th birthday. He wrote that he hoped I loved the sketchbook he sent." I looked at my mother, whose face had gone rigid. My mother told me it got lost in the mail. I laid down another. "This is for my 10th Christmas. He wrote about the telescope he bought so we could look at the stars together, even if we were apart." I laid down another and another, a cascade of hidden love and stolen memories. The letters, the photos he'd included of himself holding the presents I never received, the printed out emails pleading to see me, they filled the space between us all. "He isn't the one who is dangerous," I said, my voice breaking with a decade of suppressed sorrow. I finally looked straight at my mother, whose mask of victimhood was crumbling into pure, unadulterated shock. "The only person I ever needed protection from was you." The silence in the courtroom was absolute, broken only by my father's quiet sob of relief. My mother's case didn't just fall apart, it evaporated. The judge saw the truth not just in the letters, but in my eyes. I had not only saved my relationship with my father, I had set my own story free from the cage of my mother's lies. As I walked out of that courtroom, hand in hand with the father I had finally found, I felt the sun on my face. It was the first breath of a new, honest life.